Kevin Owens vs. Randy Orton shoot-style feud, ushering in new era of WWE storytelling. Hello guys, welcome to my channel. I am Alina. Have a nice day. For the latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. The budding golden era of WWE, with Triple H at the controls, has pushed the entire storytelling possibilities within the pro wrestling medium forward in new ways. And the Kevin Owens vs. Randy Orton feud might be the latest and eventually greatest example. Surely fans have seen the dramatic shift in presentation over the last few weeks, whether they have really stepped back to think about it or not. After the Bad Blood PLE went off the air, Owens attacked Cody Rhodes near the buses outside the arena. It was messy. There wasn't a professional presentation quality to it. It seemed like only fan videos shot from phones caught the thing at all. It was brutal too, more street fight-esque, with Rhodes appearing to take real damage. After, WWE played it off on social media and otherwise like a real incident. WWE followed this up with a similar incident revolving around Owens confronting Orton. That was caught on security footage or something similar after the fact. It too was gritty and blended with typical WWE programming in interesting ways. Adding gravity to the whole thing is that, well, the feuds and those involved aren't random. For decades, the whole cliché backstage attack thing was a staple of WWE storytelling. But it rarely felt organic, at least by today's standards. These segments have progressed stories and characters forward in meaningful ways. Fans don't need a long, drawn-out explanation. Rhodes allied with Roman Reigns at Bad Blood. That ticked off Owens for obvious reasons, making his heel turn feel natural. And eventually, whether soon or 6 months from now, Orton's issue with the same thing will likely push him into a heel role opposing Rhodes too. It's also not a coincidence that one of these segments, if we can even call them that, took place after a PLE went off the air. And while technically a SmackDown feud, it's also not a coincidence that the other happened during or around an episode of Raw. The idea is beautiful in its simplicity. In the land of weekly oversaturation, how can WWE convince fans that everything is important and worth watching? This sure helps. Before, after, during, maybe even at house shows and on the road, everything feels like it is on the table now. And should fans need to miss something, well, social media will have it at their fingertips within seconds. WWE has attempted shakeups like this in the past to not great or disastrous results. Remember Toad? Or the brief kinda sorta WWE Underground thing with Shane McMahon. This is different. More professional, but with a smudge of gritty that makes it feel real. Blurring the lines to this degree doesn't just make the pre-match video packages even better. It makes the wrestlers feel like real human beings with legitimate complaints with each other. It's not going to sway people back into thinking pro wrestling is real, but darn if it doesn't inject some much-needed life into the whole thing. And thinking about who and what could star in this type of presentation next is compelling, considering how well this has been handled so far. Think, for example, how this might play when WWE rolls out the inevitable feud between Seth Rollins and CM Punk. The two already appear to have semi-real-life heat for a variety of reasons, whether it was Rollins calling an AEW slanted Punk out in the media, or his reaction to the big return. Seeing those two in interactions via fan videos, security footage, or something similar on the road to WrestleMania would be downright engrossing. And blurring the lines, making it seem more realistic is a great, ideal way to get some of that mainstream attention and non-wrestling fan eyeballs that WWE strives so hard to get. Really leaning into that reality-type aspect of it would be perfect before the two, on paper at least, main event Mania Night 1. As long as it isn't overdone and in every single feud all of a sudden. This has the chance to change the game for WWE. But based on the long-form storytelling found in the Bloodline, later in the Judgment Day, and even now in the Punk-Drew entire feud, despite one of them being out injured for most of it, the Triple H-led creative will likely handle it well. Fans have already seen how the smallest of broadcast presentation tweaks like camera angles and one-shot efforts can drastically change the feel of WWE programming. Now they're just starting to get a peek at the next evolution of WWE. It just so happens to be much bigger and could define the entire era.